We'll go ahead and begin tonight's meeting. This is the 19th meeting of the board, 10th meeting of the Board of Directors on May 19th.
On the 19th.
On the 19th. We'll begin with an invocation by J.J. Galloway of First United Methodist Church, and I'll lead the pledge. All rise.
Thank you. Let us be in an attitude of prayer. God of all good things, we thank you for the showers of mercy that have fallen today. Your mercy drops around us as the thirsty earth is gladly replenished, and your children are too. We also thank you for this place we call home, Hot Springs. You have blessed and are blessing, and we trust in your continued promises of blessings in the days to come. And for that, God, we offer both our gratitude and our humble praise. And tonight, we especially ask your grace upon our elected officials. May your wisdom fill this room as they care for and guide our city in good paths. We also ask your graciousness to be extended to all the city employees and volunteers whose hands and hearts make this a good and safe place for us each day. All this and so much more we humbly ask of you, the God of us all. Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll now call this meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Director Aaron Holliday. Here. Director Phyllis Beard.
Present.
Director Marcia Dobbs-Smith.
Here.
Director Dudley Webb.
Here.
Director Karen Garcia. Here. Director Steve Trusty.
Here.
Mayor Pat McCabe.
Here. At this time, we'll consider approval of the agenda. Are there any additions, deletions to the agenda, or items on the consent agenda to be moved to new business? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. Director Garcia made the motion. Director Trustee seconded to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Agenda is approved. Now we'll consider approval of the minutes of the regularly held meeting on May 5th, 2026. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes as presented? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Director Webb, seconded by
Second.
Director Holliday. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. We have a special proclamation tonight honoring the 100th birthday of Albert Dub Williams Ballard. This will be presented to his wife, Jean Ballard. A little backstory on this. We were going to do this a couple weeks ago, and Mr. Ballard took ill and was hospitalized, and unfortunately was not able to leave the hospital, and has since passed. So we're recognizing his 100th birthday today, and Jean's with us today, and I have a special proclamation that I'll read at this time. City of Hot Springs, proclamation honoring Albert Dub William Ballard, 100th birthday. Whereas Albert Dub William Ballard, born in 1926, the son of a cotton farmer, developed a lifelong love of baseball in his boyhood days in Manila, Mississippi, Arkansas. And whereas his early years continued in Caney community between Bismarck and Friendship, where his strong work ethic led him from Sugar Creek Creamery in Arkadelphia to construction work in California before ultimately returning home to Arkansas. And whereas Dub dedicated decades of service to his community through his work with Tom's Snacks and the Coca-Cola Company, from which he remarkably retired at the age of 98. And whereas his passion for softball has inspired generations from joining senior league play at the age of 68 to leading the super senior category at age 94, demonstrating that age is no barrier to joy, activity, and community engagement. And whereas he was a devoted family man who deeply loved his children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, Dub shared a life of faith, fellowship, and joy with his wife, finding happiness in simple pleasures like watching wrestling and baseball together. More than anything, he had a special way of encouraging others to stay active, keep going, and embrace life to the fullest, no matter their age. Now, therefore, I, Pat McKay, Mayor of the City of Hot Springs, on behalf of the entire Board of Directors, do hereby honor Albert Dub William Ballard upon the occasion of his 100th birthday, remembering this extraordinary milestone, his remarkable life, his long-lasting legacy, and his inspiration to our community. In witness whereof I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the city to be affixed on this 19th day of May in the year of our Lord 2026. Gene, will you meet me at the podium? We can all applaud.
It is my honor to accept this. Oh, I talk loud.
Well, people at home might not hear you. Come right around. You'll be all good. There's only too many people out there watching.
This side.
We're
It's
here
my
to-
honor to accept this, and I thank our mayor for letting me be here and enjoy this. And I thank all of the people that were involved in getting this together. And I know that Doug would have appreciated it, and I appreciate it. So I thank all of you for getting to share this with me. Thank you. Mr.
Thank you. I take great joy in these type of occasions because those who have lived that long have seen so much. And in any aspect of our life, technology, telephones, transportation, whatever have you, kitchen gadgets, washing machines. Yeah, I only pray that I can live that long and have my history of all those very things that I've seen in life, and as well as you all. So we always appreciate those. I'm a member of Downtown Rotary Club, and we have a number of seniors, and I always tell them, keep walking, keep walking. I never want to catch up to you. Just keep walking. So congratulations to Dub Ballard. Okay, now we're moving on to City Manager's Report. Mr. Bill.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. As I typically do, I want to start off recognizing our new hires. One of those is with us tonight, and so it gives me great pleasure to introduce our Chief of Police, Chris Chapman. Welcome back, Chris. We also had Marion Dorman, who joined the police department as a police service assistant, PSA. Christopher Johnson in our water distribution, construction tech. Trey Zander joined us in our Parks and Recreation department. We had several departments throughout the month. Hot Springs Fire Department, all of these went from driver to lieutenant, and want to recognize Brian Porter, Sean Moore, Chase Neighbors, Cameron Woods, Tracy Gray, and Josh Kincannon. And these firefighters went from firefighter to driver, and that was Jerry Ross, Brandon Reed, Connor Broughton, Osbel Angulo, Justin Spear, and Grant Kunkel, and want to congratulate all of them on their recent promotions. And as we did our last meeting, Chief Billy Harberton, he retired after almost 29 years of service this past week, and I know that's well-deserved, and really happy that Billy was able to retire and still be able to enjoy a lot of life. So I'm sure we'll still see him around, but he did give us 29 years of service, and we really appreciate that from Chief Arbiton. Memorial Day, the City of Hot Springs, except for public safety and airport, will be closed Monday, May the 25th, in observance of the Memorial Day holiday. Solid waste residential routes and Earth Angel recycling, including leaf and mulch collection, will run 1 day behind schedule starting on Monday. If your normal service day is Monday, it'll be Tuesday, Tuesday on Wednesday, and so forth throughout the week, with Fridays being collected on that Saturday. The Transportation Depot, including intercity transit buses and paratransit services, the compost facility, the Garland County District Court, and the Community Resource Center will also be closed on May the 25th. However, the Community Resource Center will be open from lunch from 11:30 to 1, so we appreciate them coming in and doing that on Memorial Day. Hot Springs Memorial Airport welcomed families and friends to Hangar A6 on May 7th for another really fun-filled airport hangout family day beginning at 5 p.m. There were a lot of families, a lot of pilots, tenants, and those that are just friends of the airport there, and brought their kids, brought their families. We had a really good evening. A lot of bago, a lot of pictures with planes, and a lot of the kids got to experience maybe their first time to sit in an airplane. And want to thank those that came out and made that evening a success. Hot Springs Engineering Department, in contract with Gosling Construction, are nearing completion of 2 streetlight improvement projects. The first being along Park Avenue between Amber and Holly Street. 8 Acorn-style Grand Federal decorative streetlights have been installed, with a 9th to be installed later this month. These lights were really a partnership. It was funded by the City of Hot Springs, CDBG funds, and the Park Avenue Community Association. Really appreciate that active community association and helping with those. Also, an extension on Malvern Avenue and that beautification project. 7 Acorn-style Grand Federal decorative street lights are being installed along Creek and Church Street. This is to enhance that corridor leading to the downtown area. This project is also a partnership and funded by the City of Hot Springs, CDBG, with a large contribution from Rich Caroon, owner of Rika Properties, that also owns that building at Church and Malvern. The Hot Springs Engineering Department is also contracted with Gosling Construction. They just completed 2 2025 CDBG funded sidewalk projects. Palmetto Street from Ash to Silver had it previously installed sidewalks. However, we expanded that another 912 square feet to connect Ash Street, providing students with a safer route there at Langston Leadership Academy, another part of our Safe Streets for Schools. Wade Street between Cypressville and Illinois Street also received about 1,600 square feet of sidewalk. There was a 2-block gap there, so we had this sidewalk connector, allowing a safer route to Wade Street Park from Malvern Avenue and easier travel for pedestrians while utilizing the city's transportation services. May 15th was a big day. The City of Hot Springs and Hot Springs Fire Department held its grand opening and ribbon cutting following a casual open house for its newest fire station, the first in 30 years on First Security Way. This station, which went live on May 10th, will be manned by 3 firefighters per shift, serve the southern portion of the city limits, which is estimated to be about 8,000 residents, tourists, and businesses. Special thanks to First Security Bank for providing freshly cooked burgers and hot dogs at the open house. A very good partnership with them all the way through the project. Of course, we purchased that land from the bank at a very reasonable, lower cost than what we could have on just the open market, so we appreciate them. Police, on May the 18th, Hot Springs Police Department had the honor of participating in the annual Carry the Load Memorial Event, which is a month-long movement honoring and supporting the sacrifices made by our nation's heroes. This event included a community walk of remembrance and connection and inspirational speakers. Also, on May the 19th, the department, in partnership with Special Olympics, participated in the annual Law Enforcement Torch Run. The Flame of Hope was carried during the run from Hot Springs Police Department to Lakeside School District as part of the Special Olympics USA Games. So Chief, we appreciate all the participation there by our Hot Springs Police Department. Solid Waste Department, in partnership with the Southwest Central Regional Solid Waste Management District, hosted its first Household Hazardous Waste event of the year on May the 16th. This biannual event allows for Garland County residents to safely dispose of unwanted household hazardous waste, basically anything you might find under your kitchen sink or on a garage shelf. They had 345 vehicles stopped in between that 8 and 1 o'clock to dispose of household hazardous waste. So we appreciate all of those that participated there. And finally, a couple of updates on our utility projects. As you know, the water treatment plant came online on April the 6th. We had the opening there. We've had really no issues. Had a couple of things with electrical that they've worked through. We are 97% complete, and that's only because we haven't issued the last final check to Tome. They are walking through. They're still doing really small item punch list, a nick on a wall here, something there, but they're about to wrap that up, so we'll make that final payment probably in the next couple of weeks, and that plant will be closed out. Big project up at the Ouachita Treatment Plant, the Lagoon Project, building those 2 new 4 million gallon lagoons. It's about a $5 million project. It's 65% complete. If you go up there, I mean, it almost looks like the surface of Mars in an area over there, but they've got most of the riprap in now, about to get that completed, and that's a contract with Grant Garrett Excavating, but that project is moving along real well. Monday, May the 4th, we opened up the bid for the 5 plate settlers in our Ouachita Treatment Plant basins. That's rebuilding all 5 of those settlers. Removing 2 settlers, bringing in plate settlers. That's about $5.8 million. That'll be coming to you very soon for your approval. On the wastewater side of the house, the Gulfville Pump Station, that we had a lot of work at that particular pump station. We built a new pump station. It was about a $10 million project. We have, knock on wood, have had no overflows in the Gulf Basin in that area. So since this plant was brought online, that's 100% complete. We've closed it out. We've made our last payment to the vendor, and that's working extremely well. We'll know as we go through these next spring rains, but we do have 2 pump stations now. We've rebuilt the existing pump station and built a new pump station for heavy water overflows whenever rain events when we see the rain coming in. So we're in really good shape. Everything is working as it should, so very pleased with that. Our wastewater treatment plant improvements, primarily building the new clarifiers, that's 93% complete. There are a few things they still need to get done there. We were looking somewhere towards the end of the month to having substantial completion. The tertiary filters 3 and 4 that will increase our capacity from 48 million gallons a day to 96. That's about 33% complete. Most of that is concrete work, getting ready for the filters. We're going to probably put that one on hold while we wait on the tertiary filters to come in, but that's going real well. All of the piping, everything is on site for when the tertiaries get delivered. We'll be able to start that project back up. The outfall, which I had a lot of questions about what was happening on this, and this is where we built the dike in Lake Catherine as they put in a new diffuser and then worked their way backwards towards the plant. That's about 87% complete. Everything's done in the lake. They're almost to the plant, coming back up that section on the other side of the bridge. As you're going out to Carpenter Dam, you'll see a lot of clearing. Somebody asked me if that was the new water line coming in. I said, well, that was a new water line coming through, but now we're taking a new wastewater line through. So just really glad to see that one get wrapped up. That's another big item out there at the treatment plant. Things are going well. And again, we're very close to getting some of these major projects on the wastewater side completed as well. So, Mayor, that completes my report. I'd be glad to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you very much. Any questions of Bill? Director Webb?
Thank you, Mayor. I think you kind of touched on this a little bit, but the recycled program that we have in Hot Springs, can you break that down for me? I've gotten a couple of constituents ask about it over the past week or so. Their questions were, what type of plastics are being considered for the recycle program? And then also, do we take glass?
You can bring glass to the drop-off center. Also plastics, they'll do those curbside. We take number 1 and number 2. Each piece of plastic that you have is going to have a little symbol, a chasing arrow symbol with a number in it. That'll tell you what type plastic you have. We're able to recycle 1s and 2s. We'll have people ask, hey, can you take 5, 6, 7s?
Yes.
Very hard to collect those and get them to a recyclery. So we're doing 1s and 2s. Anything where the lid is smaller than the body is going to be a 1. Things like detergent bottles, those kind of things will be 2s. Milk jugs will be 2s. But primarily, all of your water bottles, the things we probably use the most of, are all 1.
A lot of their 5s, because they did have a question about 5s, and that's like prescription items, but they could
Yeah.
bring those to the drug take back.
Yeah.
Right? I suggested that.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, the last one that we did, I think we were right at 100+ pounds or something. I mean, most of the times there's,
If they have
soon to
empty-
be expired prescriptions that are
Yeah.
inside, but they could even bring back empty bottles.
Yeah, if they
Too.
take those to the pharmacy, your empty prescription bottles, most pharmacies will take those back.
And then for the glass, I heard you say take to somewhere, take to where?
The drop-off center on Valley Street, right,
Okay.
it's kind of in between the bicycle pump track
Oh, yeah.
and the skating park. It's right there next to solid waste, but if
Any
you have
money
any
back on
questions
that?
on what they have, you can go to our website, go to the solid waste page, and it'll tell you exactly what they're able to pick up. Inside the city limits, we do curbside pickup, and it's source separated. They'll separate it right there at the curb. And those, we run those routes every other week. So it runs every 2 weeks. They'll give you a calendar to let you know what dates they'll be there. It coordinates with the leaf and mulch as well, so you only have to remember kind of that weekend. That's where they're going to be there for yard waste. They're going to be there for recycling. And again, it runs every 2 weeks on every street.
I appreciate that. Would there be any money given for glass that's brought into Valley Street?
No.
Those days
Asking for a friend.
Yeah,
Yeah,
picking
no.
up Coke bottles on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Even as a kid, those days
No.
were gone.
Okay.
I used to collect a lot
appreciate-
of glass back then. You could get a nickel a bottle.
Well, I mean, their concern was they just envisioned how much time elapses before glass breaks down, in a landfill. And the answer to that question is hundreds, if not thousands. And so they were looking for just an opportunity not to just have it sit in the landfill. And, had a couple questions about the recycling
You
program.
really have to
so-
bulk those up, and
I
we'll take them up
appreciate
to
you
Garland County
responding.
with Billy and combine our totals, so we'll have somebody that'll come in and actually pick it up. Glass is something that can be recycled forever.
Mm-hmm. Is there something you don't know about, Bill?
Quite a bit. And if I don't know, I'm going to make it up. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
At least
kidding.
not about
I
trash.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Very good. Any other questions for our
Been
city
around a long
manager?
time.
Hearing none, we'll move on to Board of Directors announcements regarding upcoming events. We got any Director Garcia?
Thank you, Mayor, and I'm happy to announce that Devin Heath has been named the new president, CEO of Visit Hot Springs, and he will be here next month and assume his duties on June 15th. And he's an executive with over 20 years' experience in the hospitality industry, and he will be relocating here from North Carolina. He's spent a lot of most of his career in the South, and he's really excited for he and his wife to get here to Hot Springs. And he'll be working alongside of Steve Arison for a transition. So we can all welcome Devin and his wife to Hot Springs.
Very good. Director Webb?
Thank you, Mayor. I want to share with everybody some football. And I almost said that like the Monday Night Football commercial, Are you ready for some football? But anyway, so,
Maybe you need to
But I chose
stick to
not
your
to.
day job.
yeah, I should. The Diamonds versus the Goats. It's a military appreciation football game that's coming up Friday, May the 29th at Bank of the Ozark Arena here in Hot Springs. This is professional football here in Hot Springs. And just encourage all of you to come out and watch the Arkansas Diamonds take to the field to represent professional football with purpose. More information and tickets can be found at arkansasdiamonds.com. And again, that's Friday, May 29th. Are you ready for some football?
Well,
Now we
if you
are.
haven't gone to one of those games, they are quite entertaining. They're fast moving. You know, they have a lot of non-football enthusiasm. You know, whether there's a lot of stuff going on. You just got to keep your eyes open. It's just not all on the field. It's all the music. I don't think we do fireworks in there. But there's just a lot of activity. It's great family entertainment. So thanks for bringing that up, Director Webb. Other announcements of upcoming events? Director Beard.
Thank you, Mayor. On Thursday, the 21st, there is a first-time homebuyer seminar at the Webb Center, and it's at 6 o'clock, and there will be a mortgage lender, a title company, and a home inspector there for anyone that is interested in buying a home for the first time. And then on the 28th at the Webb Center, there is a town hall meeting at 6 o'clock. And then on May 30th, which is a Saturday, it's also the 5th Saturday of the month, and that is the day that we clean up Friendship Cemetery. So if you're interested and you want to come out and help, make sure you bring your weed eaters, lawnmowers, whatever you have. And I do have trash bags. And if there's anyone that needs community service hours, this is a great opportunity. I could sign off on those. That's all. Thank you.
Good. Any additional announcements? Hearing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. These are of a routine nature and do not merit individual discussion. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Director Garcia? Seconded by Director Webb. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The consent agenda is adopted. Now we have a public hearing at this time pursuant to resolution number 10893, and I'll ask City Attorney to read the public hearing.
Mayor, this is your public hearing, which was called pursuant to your resolution 10893. It's to be held at the request of Roger Powell to vacate an undeveloped portion of alleyway 94001 behind 312 Morrison Avenue. That's contained within real property ID number 3893963 here in Hot Springs. If you would, call for anyone who wishes to speak during this public hearing portion.
Very good. The public hearing is now open. Is there anybody who wishes to come to the podium to speak on this matter?
It will be a business item later.
Correct. We will be addressing a formal action on it in a few minutes. So if there's nobody to come forward, we'll declare the public hearing closed. Moving on to new business, we'll consider resolution R-26-98, and I'll ask City Attorney to read by title.
Resolution R-26-98, a resolution approving the fiscal year 2026 Community Development Block Grant CDBG Annual Action Plan and authorize submission to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Motion to adopt. Director Trustee, seconded by
Second.
Director Holliday. And the staff report will be provided by Sarah Delozier, grant writer. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Board of Directors. Appreciate it. Today, we present to you our draft annual action plan for fiscal year 2026. We went through a robust process this year, which was more structured and transparent and performance-driven than years past. We received 9 applications this year on our new online application portal. That opened up January 26th through February 26th of this year. We received the submissions in accordance with HUD national objectives and eligible activities, as well as alignment with our 2024 to 2028 Consolidated Action Plan. We publicly posted the CDBG application and rubric and ranking project readiness, our organizational capacity and financial feasibility and risks for everyone to have the same level playing field for submitting their applications. After we received those applications, we were able to put them forward to your Community Block Development Advisory Commission for review. All of the applicants were able to provide a presentation up to 3 minutes on March 12th. Then we had internal staff discussions about those proposed projects on March 17th. We then rendered a detailed staff report to CDAC at their April 2nd meeting, where they were able to ask clarifying questions and render a recommendation to you all on that slat of applications to fund for fiscal year 2026. A little bit different from years past, we received our notice of funding for this year in advance of actually the timing we usually do. And so our clock officially started, which is why we present to you today the annual action plan in full for your proposed adoption, which will then forward to HUD after we go through process tonight. I think what we presented to you are 7 really robust projects, as well as our planning and administration costs, which are capped at 20% of the total project for the year. Our funding is $416,515 for fiscal year 2026. It's about $3,071 less than last year's awarded amount. And we received a total of over $500,000 in requests when we include the city planning and administration cost of $75,000, that 20% cap. There's a slat of project activities that really address housing this year, which was a kind of a goal line that was presented to the CDAC Commission by the Board of Directors, and so they followed through with that, and that's what you have received in your packet. And I think really what we're excited about is we've continued to just fine-tune our process and ensure that we're doing everything really transparently and organizationally, and we are really excited that we have met our timeliness goal in May 2nd this year, and we are advancing the projects. Your city attorney told you about several of the projects that were recently completed from prior years, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have from the detailed packet. I know there weren't any last week during our agenda setting meeting.
Any questions for Sarah? Director Holliday?
Thank you. These are kind of specific to the project, so I hope that you can answer. So on 2 of them, on one of the OCYFS projects, they have building depreciation as part of their match. Is that something that we typically allow as part of our 1-to-1 match?
We typically consider it on a 1-to-1 basis and ask and encourage applicants to show that, but it's at our discretion, or the CDAC's commission and you all, to determine whether to reduce that, and they determined to bring it forward to you at not a cash match level.
Okay, I appreciate that. And then the other was for the Beautiful Life housing project. One, it talked about the culverts that were there. Is that work that the city is going to do, or is all of that on private property and it would be private contractors for that stormwater work?
That is a really great question. That particular site is a private parcel that the project has put forward. I don't know if they're here in the audience today or not. I believe that they did speak to Mr. McFate about the potential of stormwater usage dollars potentially, but at this time it was other priorities were more urgent with city use of dollars, so they're expecting to find their own match to the CDBG dollars to complete that project on private land.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I couldn't quite tell from how the plan was. I know sometimes our stormwater stuff, the lines can kind of blur. And then also on that one, there were several different budget tables, and I couldn't quite tell if they had achieved their 1-to-1 match. I understand that a lot of it is in kind or property that was donated, but I'm assuming you guys had that detailed conversation in CDAC that they did in fact reach a match that was equivalent to their recommended funding.
They did achieve that, though they are ongoing with their fundraising efforts. And ultimately, initially, the staff report dated March 31st that was presented to CDAC did not want to fund that project at this time, just because they wanted more due diligence and to meet that 1-to-1 match and not sure as a new entity. But in conversations with CDAC and the presentations and lots of letters of support and public process, they determined to give them that reduced award level to fully expend all of the awarded dollars this year.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any additional questions for Sarah? Sarah, you indicated that typically we're not notified for another 6 or 8 months.
Yes.
And you always would say that, or Kathy would say, if these are our recommendations, if we get the funding, we'll be able to do this, if not. So all these projects will fit within the funding that's been allocated?
Exactly right, Mayor. So we actually had our CDAC meeting to render the slate of applications on April 2nd, and then 2 days later we received the letter from HUD of what the funding amount was going to be. And we were told from HUD that what they're trying to avoid in going forward from this year on is having to reverse back and reduce the amount, and really just have you put forward your annual action plan that meets the exact amount awarded.
Okay. And the actual distribution of the funds or receipt of the funds, is that like October 1st or?
Yes, so typically that would be October 1st. So several timelines happen with these federal dollars. So once we received that letter from HUD, which was actually April 6th, we have a 60-day window to submit our annual action plan draft to HUD for their review. They could potentially kick it back to us and ask for some amendments or changes. Another time stamp is actually August 16th, which is the absolute drop dead date. If we don't have an annual action plan submitted by that date, we would not receive any funding for the fiscal year 2026. And then at that point, it's in HUD's hand, and we typically receive notification from them with the actual agreement to be signed by your city manager, usually around October. Last year, though, we were in the government shutdown, and we didn't receive a signed agreement from HUD until December 15th of last year. So who knows, but we think October would be a reasonable date.
Well, that's a huge, huge step and a great improvement to the entire process. So all those who are listed to receive funds can move forward with some real detailed planning and be ready to go. In the past, they'd be sitting here at the end of the year in January and February and of the following across the calendar, 6-8 months into the state in the federal fiscal year before money would be allocated.
Yes, and this year we've made strong headway that really was not looking so great around this time last year, and even as early as February of this year, but we were able to get to a ratio for our timeliness check of 1.07, which is unheard of, and I'm just so thankful for all of our city departments and our subrecipients for working so hard on that.
Well, good job, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Definitely help with spin down.
Okay, do we have anybody who signed up on this?
No, sir.
Any discussion amongst directors? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Director Holliday. Aye. Beard.
Aye.
Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Webb.
Aye.
Garcia. Aye. Trustee.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. Moving on to consider ordinance O-26-19, and I'll entertain a motion second to suspend the rules and read by title. Director Trustee, seconded by Director Garcia. I have a motion second to suspend the rules and read by title. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Council, please read by title.
Ordinance O-26-19, an ordinance waiving competitive bidding pursuant to Arkansas Code annotated to Section 14-47-138, and approving the purchase of 125 horsepower hydromatic pump replacement for the Molly Creek Sewer Pump Station from Instrument and Supply, Inc. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Dobbs Smith, seconded by
Second.
Director Trustee. And Bobby Harris, Assistant Utilities Director, will provide the staff report. Welcome.
Good evening, sir. Staff request approval to purchase a Hydromatic 125 horsepower sewer pump for Molly Creek Pump Station. The existing pump has failed due to age, wear, and tear and is no longer feasible for repair. This is a major pump station in our system, pumping sewage for the west side of Hot Springs. The station requires 2 pumps, and the Hydromatic is a direct replacement for the existing pumps, which will allow for installation without major modifications to the station. The total cost of the replacement pump is $98,879.
Any questions of Mr. Harris? How big is a 125 horse?
This particular pump runs about 1,000 gallons a minute at 168 foot ahead.
Very good. Director Webb, do you want to pick that up and place it for him?
I'll give it a try. I might need some of y'all's help. You'll call the football team.
There you go. All right. Any additional questions for Mr. Harris? Thank you.
Sir.
Anybody sign up?
No, sir.
Any discussion amongst directors? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Director Beard.
Aye.
Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Webb.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee.
Aye.
Holliday. Aye. Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Ordinance is adopted. Our next item is to consider ordinance O-26-20, and I'll entertain a motion and second to suspend the rules and read by title. Director Trustee
Second.
made the motion. Director Webb seconded. I got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Council, please read by title.
Ordinance O-26-20, an ordinance granting a non-exclusive franchise and authorizing an agreement for the operation of a specialty transit service to Jeff and Sherry Stillman, doing business as Queen City Train Rides LLC. That concludes your reading. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Dobbs Smith, seconded by
Second.
Director Webb. Let's see, our staff report would be our city clerk, Ms. Harmony Morrissey.
Thank you. The Hot Springs Code authorizes the Board of Directors to grant franchises for the operation of specialty transit services for the purpose of transporting passengers for hire along a specified route, provided that the duration, terms, franchise fee, rates, insurance, conditions, and procedures for granting and operating such franchises are clearly stated in the agreement and are fair, reasonable, and in the public interest as determined by the Board of Directors. The code defines specialty transit service as the operation upon the streets of Hot Springs of any vehicle for hire which is drawn by horse, mule, or other animal, or any other novelty type vehicle. So Jeff and Sherry Stillman own and have operated Queen City Train Rides LLC for 5 years. They're based out of Camden, and they have operated in Magnolia and El Dorado as well. They have requested to operate their train in Hot Springs during the summer of 2026. Their train is a Kubota tractor covered in a welded heavy metal frame to resemble a steam locomotive. The tractor pulls behind it a passenger car that can hold up to 9 individuals, and then a caboose car that can hold up to 6. They are a true family operation, with Jeff driving the tractor train and Sherry serving as the conductor riding in the caboose. Their application states their proposed hours of operation, with a draft franchise agreement allowing them to operate from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday, though they would not be operating all of those hours. The rides would cost $10 per adult and $5 for anyone under the age of 15. The loading and unloading location would be the First Presbyterian Church, their Scott House parking lot, which is located at 213 Whittington. The route would have the train exit the church parking lot, heading southeast on Whittington, making the Whittington Loop using Woodfin Street, and then heading back to the church parking lot. As drafted, the franchise agreement would expire December 31 of 2027. Staff has reviewed, and the comments were included in your packet. There was some concern noted for the train possibly slowing down traffic on Whittington. However, their concerns didn't result in any recommendation to deny the permit. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I would also like to say that Jeff and Sherry Stillman are here as well if you have specific questions about their operation.
Correct. And as Stillman's, I have signed up to speak, so any questions of Harmony? Hearing none, we'll move on to those who have signed up to speak regarding this ordinance. And I'll call on Sherry and Jeff Stillman to come forward and state your name, address, please.
Hi, I would like to thank you for having us here, Mayor McCabe and council directors. I appreciate you. My name is Sherry Stillman, and we live at 473 Washita 43 in Camden.
Very good. Welcome.
Thank you.
Tell us your thoughts on this project.
We are tremendously excited. We've spent a lot of time in Hot Springs throughout the years. We just are excited about the possibility of entertaining some of your patrons here, and We think it would benefit the individuals like Tiny Town and the Alligator Farm and things down there, and we're just really excited about it. Do you have any questions specifically for me? I understood that there was some concern about the traffic, but I would like to assure you, we are safety-centered. We wear bright yellow vests. We have walkie-talkies communicating back and forth. I stand on the back of the caboose where there's railing, and if any cars come up from behind, I wave them around and let the engineer, which is my husband Jeff, know that they are coming around, and we are considerate of people, personnel, animal, and bikes, or anything that would travel. We've ran our train in heavy traffic in El Dorado during Christmas for 5 years, and so far, thank the good Lord, we have not had an incident yet.
Did you look at any other routes here in town?
We did, but unfortunately, our train is not small. Well, it's not unfortunately, but our train is not small, so we did not want to clog the main street or any other heavy trafficked area. I know there is traffic on Whittington, but we just feel that with Tiny Town being down there, it just was a good match.
Okay. Other directors have questions for Sherry? Director Garcia?
Thank you. Did y'all meet with any of the neighborhood groups in the area?
We did not, but we would be happy to do so. We've spoken to a couple of the neighbors there, and they expressed some concerns about the horn or anything like that, and we're not going to do that in their house, so we would be very respectful of that.
In your other areas, do you operate in a residential neighborhood?
We do, and we
not,
have...
not a business area? Or
We do both. In Magnolia, we operate in a residential area, and in El Dorado, depending on the event in El Dorado, some is residential, but most of it's business in El Dorado. And Camden is downtown Camden. We've even been in Arkadelphia as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Director Webb, did you have a question?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I first just want to say I appreciate you looking at Hot Springs for this opportunity. I've spent some time, as probably most other directors did, looking over everything that was given to us. The train looks nice.
Thank you.
Big. I can tell y'all take care of it. You
We
put a lot
do.
of time into its presentation to everybody, so it isn't just like you just got a tractor with the trailer and, you know, some paper thrown up on it. Y'all have taken some time to put some money into it. You know, looking at the comments that are coming to us from the different departments, fire gave you a pass, meaning a green light. Solid waste, public works, planning were all checks. In this case, because of this being on a roadway in Hot Springs, the department that I paid the most attention to was our police department. And let me just share with you what our chief said.
Okay.
And I want to give you a chance to respond to this because it may or may not dispel what some constituent concerns are for the area too. But he said, and I quote, "I would anticipate traffic issues with this. I assume they intend to move this along very slowly. And while Whittington is a wide roadway, it's also shared by many to include cyclists, runners, and general traffic. If they move along in the main traffic lane with this train at, say, 10 to 15 miles an hour, they will be moving slower than even most of the cyclists. This is going to cause drivers to want to overtake them, and with all the mixed use there, that could create some issues, in my opinion, just something to consider." So, you know, when you're sharing with us that you've got experience in Magnolia and in Camden, right?
In El Dorado, yes, sir.
And El Dorado operating this, were these areas set up similar to that of Hot Springs in this area where on any given day on this particular part of town, there could be that multitude of different types of traffic that's coming through? A lot of walkers take time to walk through this park. We've got a lot of bicyclists that go through there. Heck, we've got a bicycle shop there. And then, of course, vehicles. So what might you have to say to respond to Chief Harberton's remarks? And what might you say to address the different types of traffic and how you plan to provide safety and dispel any type of concerns that people have?
Thank you for your question, Director
You're
Webb.
welcome.
I do appreciate it. And I do respect the police officers, as that comes from my family as fire as well. I know the concerns of the community. We, like I said, and I started off, we are very safety-driven. We have driven during mainstream traffic. The roads were not blocked on all through Christmas in all 5 years in El Dorado. We drive on open roads. We are very attentive to animals, to bicyclists, to cars coming behind us, wanting to get around us, parked cars, whatever the issue may be. And we do communicate back and forth on the walkie-talkie, considering the safety and the passing of traffic. And like I said, if somebody comes up behind us, I automatically wave them around. If it's safe, I will request the engineer let me know that it's safe for the car to pass. And if so, that's helpful, that it's a one-way street. So I can make sure that the road is wide enough for that car to go around. And if so, then I can wave the car around. And hopefully that will dispel any anxious drivers, if you will.
Do you drive it?
I only at home.
You do? Okay. So do you have employees?
It is myself and my husband, Jeff.
Okay.
We are on the train at all times, just us.
Oh, you're both on the train?
Yes, sir. I ride in
Both
the
of y'all?
caboose, making sure all our passengers are safe, and then he drives the engine in the front, and we stay in communication back and forth. And we both have on the yellow vests and try to make sure everybody's safe.
Well, if I remember correctly, too, I think it was just Friday and Saturdays, right? It was what you
Friday and
submitted
Saturday
for
during-
Hot Springs?
I'm sorry, excuse me.
That's okay.
Yes, sir. Friday and Saturday for the most of the days, but we do have 2 weeks, the week of the 4th of July and the week after the 4th of July, to where we're running every day except Sunday.
That's all for now.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Thank you, Director Webb.
You're welcome.
Director Holliday.
Thank you. And hi there. I know we've texted kind of
Hi.
since the beginning. I'm glad that Ms. Morsey was able to help you get to this point.
Nice to finally meet you.
Yeah, you too. So yeah, I echo some of the sentiment of Director Webb. You know, one, seeing Whittington and the charm of Whittington and how this could definitely be a positive, you know, for the community. However, like I had mentioned earlier in a text, that there's been a lot of concerns coming back, particularly from like a sound standpoint or traffic standpoint. And in hearing, I appreciate everything you guys do with respect to traffic. However, we've spent a lot of time and energy on Whittington to do a lot of traffic calming efforts, and I'm sure you've driven around plenty. There's a lot of bump outs. There's a lot of very narrow, like intentionally narrow areas. And in between those narrow areas will likely be parked vehicles and or bicycles. And so the waving of traffic may not be as easy as it might be in another area. And so that's definitely a concern. I will say, you mentioned Tiny Town. The city actually put giant rocks in front of Tiny Town because cars kept landing in Tiny Town.
We were told that by Mr. Charles.
Yes. And so, you know, even with our traffic calming efforts, we still have a lot of people who unfortunately don't pay attention to those and have jumped curbs. And, you know, we're constantly trying to keep it safer. And so, you know, that's just, it's something very unique to that area, especially with the cyclist, you know, crossing the road. I know the speed you guys are going, I think that's less of a concern as normal traffic. But the other thing, in looking at the tractor and the cars, it only articulates from the front, correct? Like all of the cars themselves would hinge between each car, but it's only the front that has a steering mechanism, correct?
That is correct, but it does follow very, very easily.
Well, because my question would just be primarily at the end of Whittington and that sharp left turn. I know that even our city buses have had trouble, or people with trailers, because it's incredibly narrow in that one place. And I was curious about the ability to make that radius by having so many pivot points.
Like I said, it does follow very smoothly. We have made sharp left turns in the middle of the square of El Dorado during Christmas traffic. So I'm confident that we can maneuver that.
Okay, good to hear. And then I know Director Garcia asked about the neighborhood. You'll hear a lot. I see a lot of my neighbors down here. And so, you know, depending on the outcome of the vote, if this is unsuccessful, I will say going and talking to more neighbors directly, and even going to the neighborhood association, there's an active neighborhood association there, and kind of creating a plan that's successful for everybody. I think is something, I mean, regardless of how it turns out, I would definitely encourage you to go, directly and come to the neighborhood association and talk about, details and specific concerns, because this isn't something I think any of us here have experienced yet.
Right, and I would like to add, if there is a concern, we would be happy to address that.
Good to know. I appreciate it.
Certainly, thank you.
Any additional questions?
Well,
Director Garcia?
It was mentioned that those couple of weeks that we're running every day.
Yes, ma'am.
And at the end of Whittington, the business there's a couple of hundred people that work there that are
Weyerhaeuser.
in
Yes,
the
ma'am.
morning, go out at noon, walk the park, and that could, them coming and going, that was some concerns there as well, because that people trying to get back to work.
I do understand that, but we
Yeah.
would definitely be respectful of their passings. The
And,
pedestrians would have the right of way, obviously.
And I had a question, what's the overlap on these times with the horse-drawn carriages?
Actually, if I may add, Director Garcia, if I'm addressing you properly, we have horse-drawn carriages during Christmas, and it may be the same people, I don't know, but we work hand in hand with the horse-drawn carriages. We give them their space. We know how horses can be spooked. Even though those horses are wonderful and trained, we still would respect the distance that it would take to make sure they're comfortable.
So I guess the question to you, Harmony, is what's the frequency and the route of the horse-drawn carriage?
So the franchise with the horse-drawn carriage allows them to operate certain hours and certain days, and they do not keep a regular schedule. It's based on the weather, it's based on the time of year, so I can't really answer your question specifically. Included in Whittington Loop is included in the areas for the horse-drawn carriages and for JJ's Pedicabs. So both of those include that route, but those two franchises don't have the schedule that has been presented here. So they just have an hours of operation that they're allowed to operate, but they don't have set times of operation, if that answered your question.
But it appeared that the late afternoon and early evening hours would be, the hours
Typically,
would be similar or the same.
Typically, the carriages would operate late afternoon and evening, yes, ma'am. And then JJ's Pedicabs is quite the same kind of hours. His much later into the evening than the carriages go.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions for Sherry? Director Webb?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I just want to say this too. Any kind of change in the neighborhood is going to bring a reaction,
Sure.
if you will. That reaction can either be positive, it can be somewhere neutral. People just have inquiring minds and, have an extensive amount of time in that area, and they want to get some questions answered. They want to make sure that everything's safe. And I think it's fair to say that it's important to listen to those inquiring minds. So I don't want you to feel discouraged as this goes on. I think it's us just kind of doing the due diligence and listening to the people of the community, because I could look at what you're presenting and could see a lot of kids, a lot of youth, even maybe some adults who would find riding this train to be exciting,
We
to
do
be
carry a lot
a
of
cool
adults.
experience. But I think we've got to listen to the people, and that's what we're about to do in just a few minutes, is to hear what those that live in this area think.
Oh, good.
I even look at what engineering's response was, and they said, engineering is okay if the neighborhood is okay with it. So at the end of the day, that's where I am too.
And I respect that that's your job.
Yes,
I do.
ma'am.
And I would, if I may interrupt,
Mhm.
say that even if we are passed this evening, I would still not take advantage of that opportunity, not take advantage of that opinion, if you will, and would love to meet with the community to address their concerns individually. so that we can get ahead of any concerns they may have, even if we are approved.
Very good. Sherry, I have one last question. What is the linear length of from the front of the tractor to the rear of the caboose?
Approximately 56 feet.
56 feet.
Our
Okay.
trailer was originally 64 feet. We had to cut it in half.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Director Dobbs-Smith?
Sherry, have you actually driven the tractor there to see how it operates?
We have not. It takes 4 hours to get it someplace. So we have wanted to make sure that it was approved before we did, but we have driven in our automobiles pretending that we were the train. We've done this so many times, we kind of know what the train can handle and not kind of know. We know exactly what the train can handle and what it can't. So we have driven, even this evening, we went around about 8 or 9 times just looking at the area and thinking about the things that may have a problem. We even considered, somebody brought up the narrow streets, Aaron, I think that was you, and we even considered the fact that would be the times that we would need to get through those narrow places before we waved someone around and that kind of thing, and just trying to consider all the ins and outs of that area and be respectful of that. And houses are here, houses are not here, that kind of thing.
So this is a tractor, right? Does it have any kind of muffling on it? Because, I mean,
It
I
is-
know what a horse sounds like, I know what a pedicab sounds
Right.
like, it's not a lot of noise, but a tractor, I know when a tractor goes down my street, it's kind of noisy, and I'm just thinking, there are a lot of walkers, you've said you've driven it a lot of times, there are a lot of walkers and bike riders, particularly walkers, so
Sure.
that walk around there. And then there's also concerts, and then there are running festivals. There's all kinds of things that go on that street, and I'm not really seeing how that would.
Well,
how those two
I would
could
like to point out that it is
observe.
covered with a metal cover, so that does muffle quite a bit of the sound. I'm not going to say it's quiet because it's not, but I think it's no louder than a loud automobile or a truck or some of these trucks that young kids drive.
Thank you.
All right. If there's no further questions, thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you. We'll begin. Roxana Wallace, please come forward and restate your name, address, and district. And just a reminder, you have a 3-minute time frame to make your presentation. Now, if we keep you up here for another 30 minutes asking you questions, that's on us. But we try to restrict your presentation to 3 minutes. Go ahead, Ms. Wallace.
My name is Roxana Wallace. I have 4.5 acres on Whittington. I own 439, 437, 433, and 434. All of that. And I have invested my inheritance, my time, my 17 years of fixing my place. I did not move to an amusement park. I moved to a place that's a national park. We have national park rangers that take people around the park. We have professional naturalists that come out and look at the beauty that we have there. We have people who roller skate with their dogs. We have runners. We do have bike races. We have running. Mr. Mayor, I've seen you run there several times. Not lately, though.
No.
I mentioned that.
Yeah, that hurt. Let's keep it professional.
He was just really fast.
Sorry about that. Okay. So anyway, just imagine you're sitting out on your front porch in the evening and you've got your drink of choice and your friends are stopping by to visit, because that happens all the time on Whittington Avenue. And a tractor, which is not quiet, comes by how many times? Do you want that in front of your house? I don't want that. Period. I do not want a tractor going down our street. Those bump outs have been causing a lot of problems with people who are trying to pass other people. I keep hearing my tire blew out. I hit one of those curbs. It's difficult for some people to pull out of their driveway because of the new bump outs. And you did narrow the street. You also just repaved it. Do you want a tractor running up and down that? There was one behind my house yesterday that was there to cut the brush. I was in my house when I heard the tractor, and they weren't even mowing. I mean, no, please. This is not appropriate for a historic neighborhood, and that's what we are. And we are a national park. And I know the street is owned by the city, but we have enough problems. You guys have just moved all of your offices down on the end of Whittington, and you're going to be increasing the traffic there as it is, coming back and forth. Do you need to run into a train? I don't think so. I really don't. So I am just here to really voice my opinion. Thank you, Director Holliday, for all of the points that you brought out, and Ms. Garcia, thank you also. Those are really points that you need to consider. And Director Dobbs, you did the same thing. I mean, there are a lot of concerns for me having a train. You know, walkers, bikers, you know, people who are just socializing out on the street do not need to hear that. Thank you. There's
Thank
better
you.
places.
Any questions for Ms. Wallace? Hearing none, we'll call on Millie West. Millie, please come forward and restate your name, address, and district, please.
Hello, I am Millie West, and I live at 405 Whittington, and District 1 is my district. First of all, I want to thank all of you who responded to my comments via email. I was so impressed to see how you engaged, especially, well, not just especially, but so many of you said, you know, we understand, just, you know, come forward and talk about it. So I second everything Roxy said. I would like to share something that I wrote to Karen. Thanks so much. I appreciate your reply. We do not want the proposal for the tractor train to be accepted. The park is too precious and special for so many citizens in Hot Springs, but especially for those of us who lived here. A large tractor pulling a trailer, making multiple trips during the summer would deprive us and hundreds of other people of the quiet they have come to enjoy and expect in Whittington Park. Please vote no for this proposal. The people that come to Whittington Park come because the attraction is nature. The attraction itself is not something other than what is already there. And it's amazing. And we do have our own share of traffic, don't get me wrong, because people come from, you know, the housing down the road. And when Roxy mentioned the runners and stuff, it's so cool for us to see the kids from the School of Math, Science, and the Arts jogging from their school all the way up down Whittington, past Tiny Town, one of my favorite places, by the way, and up to Linden Park. I mean, it's their park too, and they love it. And I see high school kids come from the city school and with their coaches, and they run in the park on the gravel. I mean, they don't need to be hearing a tractor or be distracted by a 50-foot vehicle going down the streets of our national park. So I'm pretty emotional because I love where I live, and I didn't bargain for any noise other than the birds, and we have plenty of birds. And one thing that hasn't been brought up, other than the noise, is those tires on that tractor, the picture I saw, they're really big. and I did question, as Aaron asked about that one turn, but that's not it at all. It's just the noise and the pollution. I don't know, does a tractor run on diesel? I mean, I don't want to smell any gas in the park. Well, right now it's pretty darn nice. So I just don't think we need to expose all of our visitors, all of our residents, and all of our families to anything but the natural world that we already enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of Ms. West? Hearing none, we'll call on our next individual, Will Ragar. Please come forward and restate your name, address, and district, please.
Will Ragar, 640 Whittington. I've been here about 10 years now. Just to say a short thing about it, I think the Whittington Association would be really good to talk about what we really want to, but I can just speak for myself right now. I mean, we want, more of a refuge and a renewal for the people that come to Whittington, and I think that's really important. That's kind of how it's exercised already, and I think we need to extend that. I don't think we're the major tourist area of Hot Springs in the way of showing the tourists around like the ducks are and all the other things that we have, for that. And we already have the trolley that comes to the water fountain, every so often, and the park rangers and the bus and Warehouser and all the different avenues of traffic we have there. But just in my heart, I would just say, let's keep it in a quiet and renewal kind of spirit, and kind of do more of that for the park. And that's kind of the bottom line.
Very good. Any questions for Will? Hearing none. Thank you. John Barton. John, please come forward and restate your name, address, and district, please.
John Barton, 602 Whittington Avenue, District 1. Judy and I came to the Whittington Park area right at the depth of the recession. Things were dark. There weren't many people around. Houses were falling apart. We took an 1895 Victorian house and we totally renovated it. We turned it into a successful place for us to come on our vacation time, and now we've moved here permanently. We also run it part-time as an Airbnb. A lot of people come to our place and they love it because it's beautiful, it's relaxing, it's quiet, it's peaceful. In the morning, I wake up, there are people walking and running in the park already. 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Sometimes in the evening, hundreds of people running, walking. The place is swarming with birds, there's deer. It's just a beautiful, luscious, natural place, and a wonderful place to be and relax and enjoy our neighbors and one another. And when we first came, the traffic on Whittington was not much. Now it's probably increased like 4, 5, 6 times as much as it used to be. If it's increasing anymore and there's any more noise, it's going to become degraded. And I think this is a place of rejuvenation and renewal where people can lift up one another in spirit. There's a lot of good stuff going on in Whittington Park, creativity, community involvement, and I think that we should do things that uplift the entire community, not things that just benefit a few people. And I think we should do things that really improve life across the board for everybody. And I don't think that, I have no problem with people doing tourist stuff, but I think that having something very large and relatively loud and congesting the streets. I know, I've been on the streets a lot of times. There's a lot of danger there, and I've driven big vehicles too, and it's difficult enough just with my travel trailer and my truck to get around those corners, and that's maybe 30 feet. So 50 I think would be a problem, and I just think the aesthetic would be kind of ruined in the park. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of Mr. Barton? Hearing none. Thank you. Judy Gray. Judy, please come forward, restate your name, address, and district, please.
Hi, I'm Judy Gray from 602 Whittington, and John mentioned that we bought the property there when it was just a mess. I mean, it was so bad, it sat on the market for several years and nobody wanted it. But we've taken that property and turned it into something so beautiful, invested incredible amount of effort, putting pressed tin ceiling on the parlor ceiling, and put in leaded glass windows, and we've made it such a beautiful place that our B&B guests write just the most heartwarming messages about how peaceful and pleasant it is to stay there. And I'm really disappointed that the city would do anything to approve degradation of that environment. And I think that a tractor running around the park would definitely be a degradation of that experience. And I also think that it would be very dangerous, because anything that long would be running over the bike lanes at times. And I mean, I was just out sweeping the street the other day and somebody honked at me because I was standing in the bike lane, and they were afraid they were going to hit me. So it's definitely a safety issue if you have a long vehicle going down the narrow parts of that street, and to say that you can wave the traffic around you, where are they going to go? In the parking lane, the bike lane? It's a one-lane street all the way around the park, and it's just a serious safety issue, and the noise pollution is a big concern for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions?
Any questions of Judy? Moving on. Mark Toth, please come forward and restate your name, address, and district, please.
Hi. The microphone gets away from me. Hi, I'm Mark Toth, District 1. I'm president of the Whittington Valley Neighborhood Association. So I am here. The association is here. The association voted, the board voted to oppose this. And I want to thank Director Webb. I was actually going to read what he read aloud from the police chief about the safety issues. Let's be clear on this. It's a one-lane road. The idea that you can swing around it, that's illegal. At the front of the park, there's a sign. I don't know if anybody's read it, but it's a big white sign. It says, "No tractor trailers." What are we doing, people? Why put up that sign? And I'm just going to say this. They may be I have no doubt, you're very careful. They're very professional. They're going to do their best to avoid problems. Collisions, colliding with runners, dogs, cats, deer, cyclists, other drivers. But they can't control the other people. And as I have learned, no matter how careful you are as a driver, collisions happen. And as this is going to be almost 60 feet long, cars will want to pass it. I've driven it at 25 in the lane, and someone's tried to pass me more than a few times. And with the rain gardens, they're going to hit the rain gardens. The city has to pay to repair those. You're going to have an accident. You're going to have someone injured. And then the question is going to be, why did you guys approve this? What were you thinking? You had the facts in front of you. Please, use common sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of Mark? Thank you. Director Webb, did you have a question of Mark, or?
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, Mr. Mark, you mentioned that y'all had a meeting on
Yes.
this issue already?
We didn't have a meeting. The board, which consists of 7 members of our association, in between regular meetings when an issue arises, we have a board that can make these decisions on behalf of the members. I received multiple emails from residents, all opposed, and our board, and it's a very diverse board, including Susie Bridges, who sits on it, who runs the alligator farm, all opposed it, all 7 of us.
Was Ms. Stillman there?
No.
Are there
no. We found out about this Thursday evening, and we've not had any communications, and But, you know, I think the facts are clear here, what's been presented. You've heard from the neighbors about the noise, about the character of the neighborhood. And would you want this running up and down around your house? And finally, I point out they're scheduled to do this at the same time the concert band is scheduled to perform. I know Aaron knows this, and I don't know how many of you have been to the concerts. You know, you got 400, 500, 600 people coming to that park. Director Trusty's shaking his head. You've been to it. And, you know, we welcome that. You know, we're a community. We believe in doing and helping, and, you know, we recognize that this is public park and that there's, you know, you have to have, there's going to be some inconveniences, but this is a step too far, I think.
Do you see, or do you have any notion moving forward to meet with Ms. Snellman to see if there may be any way to make it work?
We could certainly meet, but I don't think that there's going to be any change,
You
given
would-
the nature. Again, I come back. There is a sign at the front of the park that says no tractor trailers. And this is a tractor trailer, folks. I mean, if you're going to put up traffic control signs, speed limit stops, you know, on park, you can't, you know, no through truck traffic, and you're not going to force it, what are we doing? What are you doing? I mean, it's common sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
That completes those who have signed up to speak on this issue. Discussion amongst directors. Oh,
Millie forgot to pass
What?
out something she had, and I also forgot to say the executive director for the Hot Springs Village Music Department, they are strongly opposed to this. I spoke to him yesterday, and I don't
Okay.
know if he sent out his email, but he's wanting me to voice that.
thank you. You want to?
So we have a new resident on Whittington Park, and she wrote this letter and signed it for me to bring tonight, and I forgot to pass it out earlier, so.
All right.
Just for you to share.
Thank you.
But I will say, she left Fort Worth for a reason, and Whittington is the reason.
Thank you. Discussion amongst directors. Director Webb.
Thank you, Mayor. This may be a question for B. If we move forward on voting with this particular item, and let's just say it doesn't pass, does this exclude this company from seeking to implement this service at a different location that in the city of Hot Springs that might be more accommodable for the service?
Not at a different location, but they would have to wait 6 months, 180 days before coming back for this location.
Okay, thank you.
Director Garcia.
The issue that was brought up about the concerts in the park, that is during the summer, and if you've been to any of those, attending them, they're well attended, but cars are parked everywhere. I mean, a car can barely get through there, and that is something for consideration in my mind as well. And the a vote against this is not a vote against this attraction, but a vote for the neighborhood in my mind as I look at this. And I think that this could be an attraction that would be enjoyed in our area, but not this route.
Any other discussion amongst directors? Director Dobbs-Smith.
So if we vote against this, they have to wait 180 days to come back, or no?
180 days if they want to reapply for this same application, same location. If they come back with a different location, a different route, then that's a different application, and they can bring that.
That's what I wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Any additional questions, comments? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Director Dobbs-Smith.
No.
Webb.
No.
Garcia,
No.
Trustee,
No.
Holliday,
No.
Beard,
No.
Mayor McCabe.
No. Ordinance fails. Moving on to consider ordinance O-26-21. I'll entertain a motion and a second to suspend the rules and read by title.
So move.
Director Trustee, seconded by?
Second.
Seconded by Director Dobb Smith. All in favor of the motion to suspend the rules and read by title signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Council, please read by title.
Ordinance O-26-21, an ordinance vacating, abandoning, and closing an undeveloped portion of alleyway 94001 in Hot Springs, Garland County, Arkansas. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Dobb Smith, seconded by Director Webb. And the staff member, Miss City Clerk Harmony Morrissey will provide the staff report.
Thank you. Mr. Roger Powell owns 312 Morrison, which is parcel number 38963. He has submitted an application and petition to close approximately a 75-foot long, 15-foot wide section of alleyway 94001 behind his home. The property adjacent to this alleyway on the other side is 313 Belding, owned by the Dalrymple Family Revocable Trust in care of Sharon Tubbs, who has also signed the petition. Mr. Powell has indicated that he plans to build a fence in the additional portion that he would gain if vacated. City staff and utility provider representatives have reviewed, and there have been no objections. The duly advertised public hearing was held earlier during this meeting, and there were no protests or comments. All other statutory requirements have been met, and if the request is granted, each abutting property owner would take title to the center line of the abandoned alley, free from easement of the city as public use.
All right,
Happy to
thank
answer
you.
any
Any
questions.
questions of Miss Harmony?
Mr. Powell is also here as well.
Very good. Any questions of Harmony? Did we have anybody sign up?
We did not.
Mr. Powell, did you have any comments or you'd like to make or share? You're fine. Thank you. Discussion amongst directors. Director Trustee.
Thank you, Mayor. Harmony, 312 Morrison and 312 Belding, the property lines run all the way through from one street to the other, or are they offset one way or the other?
The lot on Belding is actually a larger one. I can
Okay.
put it on the screen and show you
I
the
didn't-
difference. So the highlighted
There we go.
portion,
Thank you.
this would, where the red dot is, would be Mr. Powell's property.
Mhm.
And so the area highlighted in green would be the part to be vacated.
Right.
And so you'll see on the other side, the Belding Street lot is wider on both sides.
I
But
went
it would
by
just,
there and that's what it looked like, but I just wanted to be
Yes,
sure
sir.
that it was not the same.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
I missed this, if this was in our packet. Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions or need for clarification based on what was just put up on the screen? Okay. Discussion amongst directors. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Director Webb,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Trustee,
Aye.
Holliday,
Aye.
Beard,
Aye.
Dobb Smith,
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Ordinance is adopted. We'll move on to consider ordinance O-26-22. And I'll entertain a motion and a second to suspend the rules and read by title. Director Garcia made the motion, seconded by Director Trustee. I have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and read by title. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Council, please read by title.
Ordinance O-26-22, an ordinance authorizing eminent domain condemnation proceedings for the acquisition of certain real property ID number 39965, located on Whittington Avenue and Newton and Walter Streets, owned by I.W. Harper and Susie Lynn Harper, and for other purposes. That concludes your reading. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion if any.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Oh, Director Dobb Smith, seconded by Director Trustee. And let's see, Mr. Albright will provide the staff report.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. Real property ID 39965 is located on Whittington Avenue. That runs from Newton Street, Newton Street and Walter connect it with Whittington. It also lies in a floodplain which contributes to the Whittington Creek watershed. The property is adjacent to real property owned by the city. That's at 306 Walter. The acquisition of this area is necessary for the benefit of the public generally pursuant to Arkansas Code Annotated Section 18-15-301 and Arkansas Code Annotated 18-15-309. The record title holders for the subject property are, as indicated in the title, I.W. Harper and Susie Lynn Harper as husband and wife. Attempts to purchase the subject property have been unsuccessful, and so the city staff now seeks permission authority from the board to direct the city attorney to file suit in eminent domain for the acquisition of the property and tender the appraised value of $28,500 with the registry of the Garland County Court. I want to clarify something that kind of came up today, and every time we talk about eminent domain, the word condemnation is thrown in there. This is a very different type of process than your typical condemnation of properties where you're deeming something a nuisance, unfit, and a hazard, and ordering that it be demolished. In this instance, you're not taking any action tonight other than authorizing and directing your city attorney to file suit with the court to determine the fair market value of the property that the city is trying to acquire for a public purpose and for which the owners are not willing to sell at an arm's length transaction. Denny McFade is also here tonight. He has made his attempts to deal with the Harpers in the acquisition of the property, and if you have any questions about what the intended use is of the property, he may be better suited to respond to those questions. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Any questions of our city attorney Albright? Director Holliday.
Thank you. Just a little bit of clarification. When you said that we've made attempts to communicate with the owners, is it that they have explicitly said, no, we don't want to sell, or is it that they're just non-communicative?
My understanding is that they have ignored correspondence attempting to discuss the possibility of purchasing the property.
Okay, thank you.
They live in San Diego.
Any additional questions of Mr. Albright? Very good. Has anybody signed up to speak?
No, sir.
Is there anybody in the audience that didn't have an opportunity to sign up that would like to address the board on this item? Discussion amongst directors. Director Webb?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Again, B, can you share with us, I know we discussed it at the agenda meeting last week, but just for the sake of those that are viewing and clarification of the importance of this particular property, how it relates to the city, can you break that down for us again?
I think actually the intended use might be better.
Yeah, the intended use.
Explained by Denny.
Yeah, Denny, can you do that?
Yes, sir. It's going to be adjacent to the recently acquired property that we're using for our parks maintenance. Our goal is to move all of our park maintenance off of Davidson Drive out by the waste treatment plant. They're coming off a 5-acre parcel there, and we're putting them into a 1-acre parcel on Walter Street. And it's not quite enough room that we need to be bringing the tools and stuff that we have out there to this new location without this additional property.
And so any structure that might be constructed there would not be
Not of permanent nature.
wouldn't be occupied.
No, sir.
So you had indicated that this is part of the floodplain?
Yes, sir. The biggest, about 2/3 of it is in the front half of it is in the floodplain, and you couldn't build on it anyway. Not permanent.
All right. Any additional questions of Danny? Thank you. Any additional discussion amongst Director Holliday?
Thank you. To be clear, with the 2 attachments with the green cards, the price that we were offering was based on market value through the assessor's office. However, our appraisal is significantly higher. So ultimately, if the court side with the city of Hot Springs, the property owners would likely get what the appraisal says or whatever the court agrees to, not the original offer.
Oh, correct, yeah. We have to tender the appraised value, the 28.5, not what was offered.
Okay, thank you.
initially. We were surprised at the offer, that the appraisal came back that high, but that would be the price.
Okay, any additional questions? There's nobody that signed up to speak. If there's no additional discussion amongst the board, please call the roll.
Director Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee.
Aye.
Holliday.
Aye.
Beard.
No.
Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Webb.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Ordinance is adopted. Our final action of the evening is to consider ordinance O-26-23, and I'll entertain a motion and second to suspend the rules and read by title.
So moved.
Director Webb, seconded by Director Trustee. I have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and read by title only. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Council, please read by title.
Ordinance O-26-23, an ordinance authorizing eminent domain condemnation proceedings for the acquisition of certain real property, being a portion of real property ID 42139 located at 104 Bel Air Drive, owned by Mike G. Lacey, and for other purposes. That concludes reading. Mayor, if you would entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Director Holliday, seconded by Director Trustee. And again, Mr. Albright, our city attorney, will provide the staff report.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. Vehicular traffic at the intersection of Bel Air and Malvern traverse a dangerous intersection due to the obstructive line of sight contained with a rock wall and vegetation on that southeast corner of the intersection. Multiple accidents and near misses over the years have prompted city staff to seek a voluntary acquisition of approximately 400 square feet from Mike G. Lacey. The actual surveyed amount is 396 square feet. Dr. Lacey is the owner of the real property ID 42139, which contains this portion there at 104 Bel Air Drive. Despite attempts to negotiate a purchase, efforts have been unsuccessful. I know that I reached out on 3 separate occasions. Prior to that, Mike Hill, engineer's office, was speaking with Dr. Lacey to try to negotiate a purchase. That has not occurred, and in order to address the issues at this intersection, we looked to Arkansas Code Annotated Section 14-302-105, which provides municipalities are authorized and empowered to acquire by purchase or exercise of eminent domain sites and right-of-ways for construction, reconstruction, widen, extend, and maintain streets, alleys, and roadways of every nature, including without limitation bridges, tunnels, overpasses, underpasses, interchanges, entrance plazas, approaches, access roads, and any other work of whatever nature incidental thereto. In addition, sites and right-of-ways to construct, reconstruct, widen, extend, and maintain and operate off-street parking facilities, sometimes collectively referred to here in the chapter as streets and parking projects. Again, city staff, due to the inability to negotiate an arm's length transaction, seeks the approval of the board to direct the city attorney to file suit in eminent domain for the acquisition of that 396 square feet of real property ID 42139 and to tender the appraised value of $4,844 to the registry of the court. Mike Hill is here and was very involved in developing the plans to kind of reconfigure that intersection there. If you have particular questions about any kind of technicalities, he would be better served to answer those. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah. Director Webb?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. We haven't voted on the next item of business, and I want to change my vote on the previous item to no.
What's the process on that?
You want? He's not changing the outcome, so
Yes.
he's permitted to do that.
All right, let the record reflect.
I think the rule may actually say before we go to the next item of business, but it's not going to affect the outcome.
Mike, will you come forward and tell us a little bit about the plan? I had some conversations with Dr. Lacey today, and I think maybe Mr. Albright has had some communication at some level. But there seemed to be, at least from Dr. Lacey's standpoint, some concern with the rock wall and the trees, and said some of the trees are of a certain species that's perhaps rare and they're very old. You know, is the footprint of the reconfiguration of that, is how much is impacted there?
Okay, I guess it started back probably maybe late 21. He started conversations, I think it was in 21, about the accidents we had there. Bill asked me to reach out to the property owner, see if there was some arrangement or agreement we could come to make some changes to that rock wall to try to improve the sight distance there. I had reached out to RDOT and see if they had any suggestions, and they came back and said, well, you have an obstruction there, you know, you can't see. So they were saying you could possibly make it a one-way, just going in and not let anybody come out, and that's probably not feasible for that area in there. So we were searching for a way to acquire that piece of property. There was a lot of back and forth, and I thought in late 22 that we had an agreement. Mr. Lacey or Dr. Lacey had come up with Randy Godwin was going to do a proposal to do take a little bit of the wall off and lower the column, and that was in November of 22, probably the 28th. I sent back a question about there was two small trees, not the big trees, but two small trees, and asked if we could also take those two small trees. They're about 4 to 5 inches in diameter. And then he came back, and I guess everything was off the table after that. So that pretty much turned it over to B, and he took it from there.
Okay. Other directors have any questions of Mike? Director Holliday.
Thank you. It's kind of dovetailing. Going back to the survey. So I'm trying to understand exactly what is going to happen here, and I'm imagining it's what this survey drawing is. It looks like there is the original radius. Do you have the same image that I do? So we
Well,
can,
I'm about to pull out what I
There
do
you go.
have.
Thank
I'm not
you.
sure.
Okay.
Oh,
So
yes.
the thinner line on the top left, is that the existing radius?
The rounded part, I mean,
The thinner line? Uh-huh.
that's the road right up there. I mean, part of the line.
Okay.
Can't really see that very well.
That's edge of asphalt.
Edge of asphalt.
Okay, but the darker line with the arrows pointing to it there, that is where we're going to,
The property,
correct?
that's the property line.
That's the property line.
Yes.
But the hatched area is what we're trying to take for right of way. So what
Yes.
what will then the road be doing? Do we not have a drawing of what we're actually going to do to solve the problem after we take this property?
Did y'all
Or
include that
potential-
drawing? I mean, I have it here.
We had a map with just a little blue triangle taken out of the corner, but I don't think, unless I just didn't click on the right.
Yeah, this is not in your packet, but yes, yes.
Okay, that's helpful. Hang on a second.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize it wasn't in the package.
No, you're fine. So we're not changing the road, we're just changing line of sight, correct?
The line of sight, what it is, if we take out that and then we want to bring the road and square it up with Malvern, so right now you've got that extra room to the right, and people
Mhm.
tend to start going that way and they have to look backwards. And
Correct.
it's difficult for them to do that. And this squares it up so it's a better sight distance, and they can just look to their left and look to their right and get a better view of what's coming.
Okay, that's but because that's what I wasn't quite sure if it was just based on line of sight. I remember you guys talking about squaring up the road, so this makes a little bit more sense. And then with respect to the property itself, I had a brief conversation with Denny, but, there's a very old stone wall that has a lot of character for Malvern. So as, if this is successful, when we go to take down the elevation of the hill and remove that section of wall, the intent is to make it look the way that it did. It's just scooting the column over and maintaining the arc of the top portion of the
I
wall,
think
or
the idea, we won't have the taller post at the end. We would keep that low and take off about 8 feet. So the post itself at the end would not be as tall as it is right now, because that's part of the scene over it.
right. But if it is moved 8 feet in, it couldn't. So the end post is going to be inconsistent with the rest of the wall.
It would
Be
end cap it.
tapered.
It would
be tapered.
Yeah.
Sloped.
Well, it's already sloped.
No. Sits up like that. The column sits up like that.
We had talked about end capping it, a square end cap it where it
Right, so it would
still
look like the
continues
end
to
of a
look
wall.
like the wall.
The intent was to make it look nice. So that is the intent.
Well, I'd like to think so. But and that's sort of my questions, because that wall's been there longer than the rest of us have been alive, and so just cutting the end off and not taking into consideration its design and architecture, I think is inappropriate. I know it might be more expensive, but I mean there's specific mortaring technique that's there. There's the stone, like sticking up a brick column or a faux stone column or not matching the mortar would not only be a disservice to the property owner, but I think it's a disservice in general. So that's what I'm trying to determine, is that we're going to make it look as close to it as it does now. But I mean, making it shorter than the rest, that doesn't do that.
It would still be the same height of what it is now. It just wouldn't have a large column on it. The 40-plus accidents we've had over the time that wall's been there is probably driving that decision not to put a column back.
I wish we had a little more detail on that. And I'm with you. I don't disagree with the need for this. I've had conversations with neighbors. I grew up in this area. I've made that turn. I actually watched a wreck there about 6 months ago. So I don't disagree with the need. I think we need to move forward with this. But this is something that I really hope that you guys do right by the property and make it not look like someone chopped the end of a wall off. I mean, we're buying the land, but we're not necessarily compensating someone for a loss of value for the aesthetic of the wall, for the age of the stone, all of the things that actually would go into the value of the property itself. And I understand that we aren't required to do that. However, this is something that clearly this property owner is not interested in participating in. And so I think to soften the blow, we have to definitely do right by that stone wall and not just make it look like someone cut the end of the wall off. I mean, I know that's not technically what's in play at the moment. I'm just saying I think that that's incredibly important.
Any additional questions for Mike?
I've got one.
Director Dobbs-Smith?
You touched briefly on possibly making it where you could go in, but you couldn't get out. You're saying you thought about making it a one-way street?
No, the highway department said that was without taking property and moving stuff. That's the only thing they could see that could be done other than removing the wall. They mentioned you couldn't see it. That was the only thing that they could come up that would create something safer. Don't allow people to come out. And in that section, that's a long.
That's a one-way street.
It would be a lot of people that would have a long ways to go around.
Right.
It didn't seem like everybody would follow the rules if we did that.
Okay, thanks.
Any further questions? Thank you. We did have some individuals sign up to speak. Ms. Director Peggy Maruther, please come forward and restate your name, address, and district, please.
Peggy, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't realize I'd be speaking to 2 million people, so I'm very nervous. First of all, Ordinance 02623 is completely about a safety issue. There is no fair market value on anybody's life. I live across the street from somebody who just put up a chicken stand. Some of you are aware of it. It won't kill anybody. When Malvern Avenue was widened and paved in the latter part of '76, when I moved here, which is almost 50 years ago, I chose to move here. However, I moved onto a street called Suburban Drive, 118 Suburban Drive. And I left there because of a safety issue. And they did make it a one-way street. That's when I left. This widening of Malvern was an experiment. They used recycled tires, and I really like it. The only part of this development was the lack of the insight of the topography. It doesn't lend itself to safety. It's not a dusty old road like it was. I don't know, dusty. It was a bad road. And I avoided it because people did speed there on a gravel road and some parts were asphalt. But there was no provision made for a left or a right turn onto Bel Air Drive. I know there are a lot of statistics regarding all of the accidents at the corner of Bel Air Drive and Malvern Avenue. However, there are no statistics on what did not happen. I had 3 almost head-on collisions, and that was the last time that I went over there. I purchased a home and made it look like a Frank Lloyd Wright home, and I do not feel safe having to go there every day because I don't know which vehicle, I don't care if it's small or an 18-wheeler, if it comes at me head on and I don't have a place to go left or right because I didn't see it coming. Until I am injured or killed, or any of the neighbors are, it isn't a statistic. I can only speak for myself. I don't know anybody who feels safe at that corner. And I understand about the historic wall. I really do. I've been upset about a lot of buildings that have been taken down. They're not a stone wall. They're beautiful buildings like Levi. Was very upset about that, but it happened, and I guess for a really good reason. We've had buildings burned down, the Majestic. We're still trying to decide what to do with it. But my goodness, when it comes to a life, what is a wall? If the guy really is in love with this wall, and he is given an opportunity for fair market value, he could reconstruct it. I don't believe he's living there. I've never seen him. I see a lot of vegetation growing into the house, and a lot of things.
Director Maruther, can you provide a closing comment?
Yes. I'm sorry about the time I'm taking, but 3 minutes is a very short amount of time to plead for my life. And that's what I'm doing. That's it. I hope you support this condemnation of this little corner for safety reasons only. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. David Thurman, please come forward and restate your name, address, and district, please.
My name is David Thurman, and been working on a house on Bel Air for several years now. And I've had the opportunity to go in and out of that intersection more than a lot of people that live in that area. And I've had some close calls with people coming down the hill at crazy speeds, and you can see only so far before you're in the danger zone. And by that time, a lot of these people could wipe you out if you don't accelerate faster than you should have to get out of the way. And it's all because of that wall. That wall is a danger. When it was built, that was a sleepy little dirt road, and people were probably going maybe 30 miles an hour on it. That's not the case anymore, and anybody that drives on Malvern knows that. And there are a lot of kids that live back in the area behind that intersection, and you know, a lot of people with new driver's license, and they're not real skilled at avoiding accidents. So the lack of concern that this guy has shown several times when I've talked to him shows that he doesn't care about the safety of the people in his neighborhood. It's not his neighborhood. He lives in California. And I just don't think it's right that we should have this wall be an issue for the safety of our people. And that's all I have to say about it.
Well, thank you. That completes those who have signed up. Were there any other individuals who desired to sign up but could not? Thank you. Discussion amongst directors? Oh.
I have one more thing.
Director Maruther, quickly.
I'll make it quick. This turn also is a turn to Eastgate 1, 2, and a whole lot of different neighborhoods that have been developed there. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Discussion amongst directors? Director Webb?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. B, I'll need your help again here. Looking at all that was submitted to us in the packet, it looks like, at least what we're able to see, the first reach out to Mr. Lacy, was that in June of 23, or does this go back even prior beyond that?
It goes back beyond that. What you saw were my communications with him. Mike Hill's been communicating with him since 21.
Since 2021? And at that time, was an offer made, or were there trying to be some negotiations determined of what to do to fix the issue that's causing so many accidents at that intersection?
Yes, there were communications. I don't know how many of them were conversations, but there were communications between the engineering department and the property owner on an arm's length transaction of what to do, how to solve the problem, and they were not able to come to terms. So we had the property appraised, and I reached out and made an offer to him for the purchase. He wanted more information, which had already been provided. We provided the information again. I sent him 62 attachments in one communication, and nothing. And then so finally in September, I reached out again to renew the offer, and I never got a response.
This was in 25, September of 25?
September 25. So
Was his last email, that was July 10th of '23? Does that sound right?
Yes.
Thank you. The thing that concerns me is there's 13 pages of accidents. Do we know, and that's just what was in...
That's just recent.
Yeah, that's recent accidents, and that's only taking it back, I think, to 22, right? So 13 pages of accidents, many of which are serious, highly serious. Go ahead.
I was just going to mention, we were really close in November of '22. We got as far as me sending him the right of entry. He had, with Randy Godwin, had agreed to do what we wanted on the wall, and Randy was going to do the work, and he had extra grapevine joints and everything he wanted. It was going to cost about $4,000. He said, if you guys pay for that, I'll agree to this. I had the right of entry. I sent that to him. I sent an additional questions 2 days later. There's also 2 small trees that's right there, and if we could take those also, that would help with the view. And that's when he came back and started saying he wanted to be compensated with additional money if we found that this did not save at least 40% of the accidents, reduce accidents by 40. It was a very strange email, but he went from almost an agreement to deciding he needed to have a study done to see if it really did help, and he wanted to be compensated if it didn't help.
Thank you.
All right. Any additional questions? Director or trustee?
Thank you. Mike, this area on the survey that's going to be the right-of-way dedication, will that be cleared? Is that what we're talking about? All of that area will be cleared, sloped?
They'll be cleared. There's 2 small trees on that area, the 2 I'd asked him for, and then the rock wall will be taken back approximately 9 foot, and there'll be a little bit of grading on that hill.
Okay. And without that post on the end of the wall, it shouldn't be an obstruction to the line of sight for a driver?
You'll
there?
have the hill line of sight, but the wall
Right.
won't be a problem anymore.
Yeah, the hill will
Yeah, we
always
went out
be
there
there, sure.
and kind of did a test. If I was sitting here, and that's how we came up with squaring it up.
Right.
If I was sitting here looking down, I could get past the wall. You still have people coming over that hill fast,
Sure.
but at least you have a better sight distance, and you're not straining to look backwards because we're squaring it up.
It'll be squared up, and you'll be able to just look left or right.
You'll be able,
But
yes.
the hill will still be.
The hill will
hill's
still
gonna
be there. Can't do anything about that, but it
Obviously.
will make an easier looking back and forth, and your sight distance will improve.
Well, I agree, this is a safety issue, and has been a long time in the making. Should have been done probably years ago. Thank you.
All right. Discussion amongst directors. Any additional discussion? Hearing none. Please call the roll.
Director Trustee.
Aye.
Holliday. Aye. Beard.
Aye.
Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Webb.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Ordinance is adopted. That concludes the action items for the evening. Board of Directors items for discussion. Any items for discussion?
Mayor?
Go ahead.
I have one thing. I think our city manager notified the board that I had inquired about going to NLC City Summit in Nashville. It's in November. Was unaware that the early bird registration closed June 1st. We won't meet again until June the 2nd. If it pleases the board, I'll prepare a report detailing the expenses, but I think in order to save $135 or something, whatever it is, if we could get approval to go ahead and pay that registration, if something doesn't work out to go, I will reimburse the city for that registration, or we'll use it for someone else.
If it's by a certain date, I think we can also get reimbursement back for the registration fee. Since that time, Director Beard has also turned in a form to go to NLC. And I don't know if any other board members are, and Director Garcia had requested a copy of the pre-travel. So we've got, I think, 3 board members that are interested in attending. and staff just needs a little direction.
Okay.
Okay. Any direction?
We can get the three, Mayor, we could get the three registrations complete and then come back with the actual pre-travel forms. And
Right.
should one not be approved or whatever, we can always get back with NLC to get that registration feedback. I think if we do it soon enough, we'll be able to get all of it back.
All right. That sounds like a plan.
Do we need a motion to approve that? Not at this point.
Yeah,
just
I
pay the
support that.
registration?
I support that.
I don't,
Okay.
it's
Thank you.
just a direction for city manager.
All right.
Any other items for discussion?
Mayor, if I could, we did have a company come in. We heard a lot over the last few couple of months that you can't hear in the audience when we're speaking. We did have a company come in this past week and did a lot of work with our audio, with our equipment in there. I had Bobby Harris sitting in the back of the room, and he said that he was able to hear pretty good on the dais. Said some of the podium was muted a little bit, but they could still hear. So I think the audio's improved a lot. One of the things I was watching is a lot of the speakers didn't have the mic all the way up. So if we get to where we're speaking into the mic, I think everyone in the audience can hear. You know, Sarah's shaking her head that she can hear, but I think we've solved the issue with what we've heard over the last few months of not being able to hear in the audience.
Very good. Well, there are no further. Director
Just one quick
Dodd-Smith?
thing. I just wanted to give a big shout out to the new sign that's up on Weston Road. The residents are very pleased. They've had quite a few accidents there, and the signs at least say to slow down. Have you noticed them? Don't you live?
I actually had not. But
Do you go
is it
home?
is it on the airport side or the other
No,
side?
it's on the road,
Been running
that
too
where
much.
that big curve is, where the people keep running into stuff, having wrecks.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
there's, right. Now, there's that hard left that people who aren't familiar with it don't realize how hard, and if their tires leave the road, they get sucked into that utility pole, and then we're all out of electricity because there's a transformer there that gets knocked, and anytime our power's out, you just drive down there and you'll see why. Not storm related. All right. How about a motion to adjourn? We do have some individuals signed up for public comment. So motion to adjourn. Director Garcia, seconded by?
Second.
Director, wake up. Director West, all in favor signify by saying aye.